Now, it's been just about a week since we last heard about the plan from the owners, the proposed deal for the 2020 season, however many games we're going to play, the 50-50 revenue split. There's a lot of hurdles to go through, and apparently the reporters, the news, they're starting to get insight into what that actual deal looks like. There's a lot of stuff to go through. We are not even close to being done with this yet, and that doesn't even address the paying of players. We've had players like Blake Snell sound off about this on social media, talking about how they don't want to play for less, and I'm completely with the players. Take the prorated, don't take the 50-50 revenue split. That's terrible. We even got Bryce Harper talking about it, which is what's going to be the topic of today's video. Bryce Harper talked about the pay, talked about the 2020 season, and on his Instagram yesterday, he made this giant post about a proposed deal that he thinks would be good for the MLB 2020 season, and I'm really interested to talk about it because I think it's actually pretty good. I love what he's doing over here. So I'm going to go through all the details. I'm going to go through what that proposed plan by Bryce Harper is. Does he have any actual insight to what maybe could be coming, or is this just him spitballing, throwing something into the wind? As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like. That's the best way to show your support on the channel. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. We are so dangerously close to 150k. Click that sub button, join the team. Remember to get in the comment section down below. I want to hear your guys' opinion as well. Do you like Bryce Harper's plan for the 2020 season? And remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. We can talk more baseball over there, as well as make sure to follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/GiraffeNeckMarc. We got the stream set up now in the apartment. We're streaming tonight during the KBO game if you want to watch along with me. So we've got it pulled up here on my phone. We're going to be going through all the bullet points, Bryce Harper's plan, give you my thoughts, whether I agree or disagree with it. And I'll tell you right now, I agree with it. I like it a lot. Starts off with him talking about the health and safety of all the players, coaches, staff, families. That's obviously the most important thing. If people are getting sick, if people are in danger, that's not what we want. Health and safety, couldn't agree more. That is the #1 priority before we get anything going. People need to be safe. Starts off by basically having 2 leagues, just like Major League Baseball does right now, but not the American League and the National League. Let's go East and West, just like the NBA. And I think considering the scenario that we're in with the coronavirus, how Major League Baseball is set up, this is a really good idea that the MLB could execute. The West, of course, would be all the teams basically in the western half of America. They would either play their games maybe at home, at their home stadium, so that the travel's less, or maybe they're all in Arizona. I don't think that idea is off the table just yet, but I think that's a really good idea. And then in the East, again, they would play only teams in the East this year. Maybe they play in Florida, maybe play in their home ballparks. That would minimize the traveling. At least you would keep these teams under control a little bit more than having them grow across country every single time, because of course the travel is always going to be a huge roadblock in this entire plan. What are you going to do with travel? What if you're coming from an area that's severely infected, kind of like New York City, and you're going to say somewhere like Kansas City where it maybe doesn't have as high as an infection rate? So East and West, I'm for it. I think that's a pretty good idea. I personally like that better than the 3 divisions with 10 teams. He breaks down when the schedule would start, and he plans to start in July. 31 days in July, so this is like how many days in the season you'd be going. 31 days in August, 30 days in September, 31 in October, and then you'd play 15 days in November. That would give you a total of 135 games, which of course is going to be more games, better than the 82 already. For players, I think that they would probably prefer that, especially considering if they are going to get the prorated contracts, which is still an uphill battle. But if they get the prorated contracts, obviously they would get paid more for 135 than they were for 80 or 82. I think players would definitely prefer to play a few more games and go into November than to play less games and get paid less. Players want to get paid what they're deserved, and I'm all for it. He then goes on to talk about off days, scheduling double headers. Off days every 2 weeks, and they would fall on Mondays. The Sundays before those Mondays, you would then have double headers of 7-inning games. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be upset about 7-inning double headers. They're going to be like, no, baseball's 9 innings, don't change it. It's 2 innings every so often, and you're getting 2 games in a day. 14 innings of baseball in 1 day. Do you know how hard it is, how tiring it is to just play 14 innings of baseball in 1 day? Imagine them doing 18. That is a huge difference. That is 100% the right move if they're going to be going to these mandatory doubleheaders. I'm all for 7-inning doubleheaders, 14 innings in 1 day, 2 games. That is a great way to get more games in the schedule without completely screwing up everything. You get the off days on Mondays. I love it. Give the off days every 2 weeks on Mondays. Get the doubleheaders on Sundays of 7 innings. Let me see more baseball. I think this is a really good plan, and it gets more games in 135, more games on TV. The TV companies are going to be happy. The players are going to be happy. The owners are going to be happy because they're on TV more. Just seems like more revenue right off the start right there. As for the rosters, he's saying let's go with a 30-man roster, a 6-man starting rotation. Now, of course, that's probably really more up to the teams. I don't know how you can mandate a 6-man rotation necessarily around the league, but the 30-man roster, you can definitely make something that's for sure. Right now in Major League Baseball, we're supposed to go to a 26-man roster in the 2020 season, and a lot of these plans have proposed already a 30-man roster with like a group of 50 guys that you could pull from. 30-man roster, definitely the move, especially if you're playing doubleheaders, especially if you're only getting an off day every 2 weeks, especially if you're playing a lot of games in such a short period of time. Expand the rosters, get more arms, get more players in there so that you're not completely burning these guys out because they're going to be playing a lot of games in a very short amount of time. I'm for it. Expand the rosters. He then goes on to say, you know, save the arms if pitcher wants this. If not, that's fine. I'm cool with that, Bryce Harper. I agree with you. The way that pitchers should be used is really up to the discretion of the teams and the players. He also added on DH and any other ideas are possible. I'm all for the DH. Throw DH in there. We know my stance on that. I've been saying it for years now. Give me the DH in baseball. There's no reason pitchers should be hitting, especially in a shortened season like this, especially in a year where everything is going wrong possible right now for baseball. Give me the DH. Let's test it out. If it works, we're keeping it. If it's a terrible idea, guess what? Next year we can go back to no DH. So I'm for the DH. Add it to the league. And then for the playoffs, he said a 2-week World Series just like the Super Bowl week. And I know that might sound a little bit weird right now, like a 2-week World Series. What does he mean? He clarifies that a little bit more. It's not going to be like 14 games of World Series. He wants to go the College World Series path. And I'm not going to lie, I really like this idea, and I wouldn't be opposed to this being an actual thing in Major League Baseball. If they ever wanted to change the playoff rules, the format, I think the College World Series is the right way to go. So let's just continue on here before I get going on to another tangent. 10-team round-robin College World Series format, which I already went over, so that would answer how many teams would make the playoffs. Play at the new Texas Stadium or whatever stadium fits best for this idea. You'd essentially be playing in a neutral site, just like the College World Series, playing in Omaha. They were back in Rosenblatt Stadium. They were in whatever stadium they're in now. I don't know what it's called. But the idea is that you'd either have one stadium or a group of stadiums where all the games during the playoffs / World Series would be played at, just like the College World Series. 3-game series for all series, just like the College World Series. I think for this year is okay. I think this is a great time to experiment with it. I personally think that the College World Series format could be an improvement on what we have in Major League Baseball. Maybe not for the future, but if we are going to tinker with anything, I like this idea better than what we've had in the past. That Manfred idea that we heard this winter was horrible. Just like in the College World Series, you win the series, you move on to the next one. If you lose, you have a 1-game wild card to continue to move on. It's going to be like that double elimination round robin thing. I mean, we've all seen the College Baseball World Series. You have the series, you win, you move on, you lose, you play the other loser, they knock each other out, you continue to move on forward. I don't know if I can explain it better or worse than that. I'm just assuming that you know how it works. He then also put the idea out there of maybe playing in Vegas for the playoffs, which I don't think is a bad idea. Vegas doesn't have a Major League Baseball stadium, but they do have the AAA team for the Oakland A's, the Aviators, and because there's not going to be any fans in the stands, it doesn't matter the size and how many seats they have there because no one's going to be watching. The reason he said Vegas would be a good idea is because you would be able to control those players, the environment, quarantine a lot more because you'd have the Vegas Strip. No one's on the Vegas Strip right now. You could clear out an entire hotel, put all the teams, all the staff, all the players in the exact same hotel in theory. You'd be able to keep a closer eye on them, make sure that they're not getting in contact with anybody. If they do get sick, you have the opportunity to close them off because they got the hotels. I think that's a really smart idea by Bryce Harper. The hotels in Vegas are massive. You can fit the entirety of the playoffs, everybody there in a few hotels, maybe even one. And the big kicker, I think, is that you don't need to have all the seats in the stadium because no one's going to be there. I'm for this idea. I really like that idea for the playoffs this season, and if it works, I wouldn't be opposed to trying it out in the future for Major League Baseball. Kind of a cool idea. I love the College World Series format. Now, for the actual World Series, you would have 2 teams left, of course, and they would play a 7-game World Series, just like we classically have now. 7-game World Series, nothing like it. Game 7, that's the most intense moment in any sports game, without a doubt. You gotta love Game 7s of the World Series, and that way you give each team as many opportunities to prove that they're worth it, as opposed to a 3-game series where, let's be honest, you could just be in a funk. 7-game series, you have a much better chance to prove it. The most important games in the season make sense. Before the World Series starts, you would have 2 off days, and Bryce Harper's proposing that in those 2 off days, you would have like an all-star game type thing with a home run derby. You could even do the MLB awards then. Why not, right? I really like this idea. The all-star game is for the fans, right? If we can do the all-star game with the players excluding in the World Series, of course, just like the NFL with the Super Bowl, you don't want to have guys who are playing in that playing in the Pro Bowl. But the 2 days before the World Series, you have a home run derby and an all-star game. What a better way to lead into the World Series, especially at the end of the season. You can actually pick all-stars based on a full season, not half a year. I really like that idea. I think it's a great way to lead into the World Series, changing it up, but keeping it relevant. I like it a lot, Bryce Harper. You're thinking smart. Bryce Harper is being clutch right now. I'm loving it. And then the biggest thing, which I think everybody is going to agree with, everyone is going to love. I'm going to read it verbatim here. Open this up on all platforms. No blackouts. Open it for everyone to watch. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you for a player for finally speaking up about this. You've had Trevor Bauer talking about it for a bit. He always talks about how the availability of games, blackouts, it's ridiculous. You've had a bunch of people in the baseball community talk about it, but you've never really had a big star. Bryce Harper's about as big as it gets, and he's saying, open it up, let people watch the games. Why are we making it so hard to watch the MLB product? They're very easy steps for Major League Baseball to grow the game and grow the sport. One of the ways is make it more accessible. The last bit of information we got here is going to be then you back up the season the next 2 years, May 1st start date in 2021, which makes sense because the season will be ending later. They need some more time to prep, need some more time to get ready. We still don't know what the coronavirus outlook's going to be like for 2021 still. What's it going to be like when we get the fall and winter winter, the flu season going again. Is it going to push back hard? And then 2022, you start on April 1st. He goes, maybe I'm crazy, just fun to think about and throw around ideas. Bryce Harper, first off, stand up and clap. Stand up and clap. I love it, Bryce Harper. I love it. Clapping it up for you. I love that Bryce Harper, a mega star in Major League Baseball. Everyone knows who Bryce Harper is. He's arguably more popular than Mike Trout, but he's speaking out. He's giving his opinion. He's not sitting back and being quiet. This is what baseball needs. It needs their stars to have a voice, to have a say. And him even coming out and doing something as simple as just throwing ideas out to the wall, seeing if they stick. That's huge for baseball. That's huge for the future. So once again, Bryce Harper, well done. Well done. I love the idea. I think it's a great idea, especially for a season that is going to be weird. Let's try some different things out. I think he gave a lot of great ideas, a lot of great proposed plans. I'd love to know what you guys think about it. Clearly, I like it, but do you like this plan? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Let me know in the comment section down below. Remember, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so. We're so close to hitting 150K. Click that sub button already. What are you waiting for? Remember to leave a like as well on the video, and make sure you check me out on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc, along with my Twitch where I'll be streaming tonight during the KBO games. GiraffeNeckMarc everywhere. Links in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video as well, as this is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.